This video was supposed to start in the rain, but that's not happening because this mic is IPX5 waterproof. This is the Saramonic Ultra. I've been fortunate enough to review my fair share of microphones. So when it comes to wireless mics, I've been doing a lot. So I do feel I have some form of information, some experience to give you when you're deciding at looking at a new wireless system and how it stacks up to everything else out there. Firstly, Saramonic has been around for longer than most, over 13 years already. So when it comes to audio, they know what they're doing. So when they start making a 2.4 gigahertz system that everyone kind of has jumped on the craze at the moment, it's time for us creators to listen and see what they are putting in. Now, straight to the point, this kit that I've got is $299. Now that does come with the lav mics, the full kit. If you want it without the lav mics, $269. Now in comparison to something that offers almost what Saramonic is offering, you're looking at the Rode Wireless Pro or the DJI Mic 2, which is around $349 to $399. So a lot more expensive than what Saramonic is currently offering. Okay, so what's in the box? Now you do get the standard kind of information sheets. You get the main unit as well. It's a charging case that does hold the transmitters and receivers, as well as the mobile phone mounts to connect this to either an Android or an older Lightning iPhone. Now the charging case does hold its own charge, so when you do dock the mics as well as the receiver back in, it will actually charge those microphones up again, which is great for creators. If you've ever been on a job and you're shooting interviews and you've got some B-roll to do, or there's lunch and you're going to do interviews again, you can quickly throw them back. It's fully charged up by that time. I think most of these kind of charge up within an hour and a half, and everything's fully charged and good to go. And the cases do hold quite a bit of charge. So how long the battery life is really going to last, unless you're shooting for more than 8 hours, then you can start getting worried that, but I mean, how many people are really shooting for longer than 8 hours period of time with wireless transmitters? Very unlikely. Now the case does have an insane quality feel. It's heavy. It's unlike anything that I've felt before that has so much quality. The quality on this is next level. This leatherette kind of feel. Now this is a second unit that I'm currently using. My main unit that I have is connected to this camera right now, and I've got the transmitter here, and I'm using the actual Saramonic lapel mic right here. That same quality feel goes straight into the receiver as well as the transmitters. They're very, very durable, very, very heavy. You can feel that if you drop this, it's probably going to break whatever you drop it on. That's kind of the feel that it gives you. You do get a twisting and locking USB-C and Lightning connector that you can connect to the back and then connect this straight to your phone. And what is pretty cool is that those little mounts actually sit in the charging case as well, so they are always with you. In the carry bag, you do get a 3.5mm cable to connect the receiver to your camera. A USB-C cable, now that can be used for charging the whole device, or you can actually just use that to connect your transmitters to your computer to pull off those 32-bit float files, which we will get to shortly. It also comes with two dead cats that clip into the transmitters directly, as well as an antenna to increase the range, and we are going to test that if it's not just a range thing, but maybe just a little bit of extra less line of sight. And finally, you do get the lavs with the windscreen. Now the lavs don't come with dead cats, so just keep that in mind if you do need dead cats for your lavs. Otherwise, it does come with dead cats, obviously, for the transmitters themselves. Now, opening the case does reveal the charge of all three of the devices, the receiver and the two transmitters. However, it doesn't tell you how charged the actual case itself is. For that, you've got a little ring around the Saramonic logo over here, which is white when fully charged, and when it needs to be charged, it goes red. If you are wondering to connect this to a computer, yes, you can. You can use 3.5mm cable as your receiver and connect it to a computer. All of that stuff would work very much like a kind of normal mic. I know it's a question that often gets asked when it comes to these kind of mics, but yes, you can do that. The features. Now the transmitters have a pretty cool design. Very simple. USB-C port on the one side, which is used for taking off those 32-bit 32-bit files, or you can just give it constant power. If you're using this in a prolonged period that you need more power, it will charge it up as well. You do have a noise cancellation button on the side, as well as a record button where you can hit record, and then the button on the front is used to actually mute the device. Now let's just say you do give this to a talent, a model, someone that's busy talking at an event, and they hit that mute button because they went off to the bathroom. You do have the ability at the receiver to switch it back on and unmute it, which is great for when people are moving up and down stage and you're just the videographer that's recording everything. It's great to have that you can unmute it from there and override essentially whatever the transmitter has done. Now that record button, you can change the record settings, which I'll show you just now, from 32-bit float to obviously normal. And that record button records the 8 gigs of internal storage. Now it is pretty cool with the 8 gigs of internal storage, because people do have this question as well. What happens when it gets full? You don't have to delete the files. It will just rewrite from the oldest file and write it all over again. So you can just let it record over and over as a backup on every single job. And one day when you do need that backup, it is there for you. Now the receiver does have a pretty cool design as well. It's got a touchscreen on the front, and the touchscreen is super easy to navigate, as well as a little jog wheel on the side, the port on the right-hand side for the antenna, the 3.5mm port on the left-hand side, which goes from your 3.5 cable straight into your camera so that it can send the audio that the receiver receives from the transmitter straight into your camera, for those of you that don't know how it works. On the back, you do have that USB-C port, as well as that little lock-in mechanism for those mobile phone adapters, and then those 3 pins, which is on every single device, which helps it charge in the magnetic charging case. Now let me take you through the menu, because it is pretty featureful. All right, the menu has a pretty simple and great design. Tapping this once allows you to toggle to the transmitter via the jog wheel, and you can adjust the gain of the transmitter. Tapping it again allows you to go down to the bottom one. Now this is setting the gain of the receiver, which is sending out via the 3.5mm to your camera. So basically what this does is you could record at a very low volume via the transmitter and then push the gain up going out. This is great for if you're monitoring headphones or you're sending audio source. You really just want to be customizable with the way you're sending your audio feed out. So you adjust the gain of the transmitter as well as the gain of the receiver going out. Swiping down from the top allows you to access a transmitter menu per transmitter. And yeah, you've got your noise reduction that you can toggle on and off. You can mute the device. So if someone accidentally taps the button over here and mutes it, you can actually go ahead and unmute it. So this is really, really nice. Your noise reduction that you can toggle off. And then you've also got a record button. So you can hit record over here and it'll automatically start recording on the actual transmitter. So hit record and you can see the red light comes on. Next, you swipe to this side and it allows you to access the menu. Now it is touchscreen or via the jog dial, and I'm going to start on the left with output. Output allows you to change the output to mono, stereo, safety, headset, headphones. Moving over to volume, you can change the volume of the RX output, as I mentioned. Your mic gain, this is the mic gain. So currently it's on 9 dB. I can take that down. This is exactly the same as adjusting it in the front menu. Going back, you can head over to gain modes, and you've got off, camera presets, auto gain, low gain. I'm assuming most people leave it on off or auto gain. Then you've got sound, which is original, vocal boost, or low cut. I find I have much preferred original. It allows me more customization in post. Record settings. Now here you have auto recording or 32-bit float. In other words, when you record, if you put this on and you record on the actual transmitter, it will record a 32-bit float file as opposed to a normal audio file. And I'm going to get to that 32-bit float. You then have auto recording. Now currently I've noticed that if I do plug this in to my camera and I hit record, it doesn't auto record. So I'm assuming this feature is possibly made for Sony's, or if you're using the additional attachment for Sony's. But if you're relying on auto recording, that when you hit record on your camera and it sends a signal to the transmitter to auto record, that currently doesn't work with Lumix GH6 or the GH5 or GH5S that I've noticed. So you would need to actually record on the device itself, which isn't a bad thing because you can record from this device easily and check if it is recording. So it's really not the end of the world that it doesn't. It would be great if it did. Then you've got speaker. No idea what that is. If I do find out, I will put it over here. It's boggled my mind. You've got time code. So for the time code lovers out there, you got 30, 29, 9 FPS, DF, 25, 24, and 23.98. You've got free or real-time running, and you've got 5 different modes for time code. So for you time code fans, this is going to be a great little device. Pairing, so if you do happen to either lose or break a transmitter or receiver, you can actually pair them up again and get a separate one. Now you can adjust the brightness of the display as well as the backlight and decide if you want it 10 seconds, 30, 60, or always on. I leave it on always on. I don't like it going off, especially when I'm recording and I do want to check on the recording. I don't want to have to touch the screen or the camera. System, you've got your time. You can change your time, your year, your headset noise cancellation disabled. Storage, this is pretty cool. It shows you how much time is left on each transmitter for recording internally. So you can see in hours how much time you have left. Very, very cool. When it runs out, it will just rewrite the file again. Then you've got your version, your language, and your reset. Other than that, it's a very, very simple design. Pretty easy. No extra buttons on here besides for this button to lock the screen and unlock the screen. Cool things you need to know. Now here is some extra sauce for creators out there, and I think this is the part that is more of an experience thing that I can tell you. Number one, when you do activate noise cancellation on this device, it won't automatically activate noise cancellation on the other device. You can control them separately from the receiver. That noise cancellation is not linked, which is great when you set up this mic on a talent to record their voice, and perhaps in the same room, maybe it's at a church, at a wedding, or at an event, you can take this one and place it in the room and just record the ambient sound of the room without noise cancellation activated, which is great to mix that audio in post-production. Now, besides for the auto gain control that you do have, which is great, let's say you don't want to use all of that, and your audio is clip-in. Besides for looking at the green, the yellow, and the red, some people believe that it must just always stay in the very low green, and they don't kind of understand it. What's great about this is there is a little red light that pops on you when your audio gets way too loud. And it's pretty distracting to see it, which is great. The fact that you're busy filming, you're recording, the next minute you see that red light start flashing and pulsing, it alerts you very well, knowing that you kind of got to bring the audio down rather than you just kind of zombieing behind the camera of an entire day's worth of production and just recording audio. So it is nice that it's there, and it alerts us as creators to say, hey, something's wrong. Another thing that is cool is within the app, when you do connect this to the app, you can update the device over the app, number one. Number two, you do have those presets that you saw in the menu look, which is for a Sony a6400 or a Lumix GH6. It just kind of helps creators out because most people don't really know that you sometimes lower the gain on your camera internally for the microphone, and then you lift this a little bit more and kind of balance it out. The GH cameras, the Lumix GH5S, the Vive, the 6, they're very hot. So when you're recording audio, you really got to drop it right down there. My GH5S and GH5, I dropped down to -12, to the very bottom. And I get the best audio like that. But that comes with experience. Most people clip their audio for years before they figure it out. It's nice to have this kind of in the bag as a preset. Also, this little magnet that comes on this clip at the back is extremely powerful. Like, it can actually lift up the lever. You can see how powerful that magnet is. So this is going to go through a jersey, no problem, and hold it super, super tight. Very, very cool, the fact that it does have that. Also, a big bonus is the fact that that magnet stays on there as it docks, so they're not separate from the system. The antenna. Now, the antenna is pretty cool because, yes, it does increase the range, and I'm going to get to that right now in a range test, but I'm not really worried about line of sight. I'm more worried about non-line of sight. Range tests. I cannot express this enough, but I have to tell you this as every single manufacturer out there, if you are watching this, we don't really care about 300, 400 meters or 500 meters when it comes to audio, because unless we're recording in a field, but I suppose at that point, you're not using 2.4 gigahertz systems. We're more worried about the non-line of sight. And that's where this little aerial comes in. And I want this antenna aerial to help increase that non-line of sight range. I'm not worried about 400 meters non-line of sight. I'm worried about that 50, 60 meters where, you know, someone's just kind of moved, you know, to the front of the venue or the front of the church, or you're recording someone at an event and there's people walking through. Does that antenna help for that? And we're going to test that. Right, so range test on this. Right now there is no noise cancellation on, so you can hear the background noise, dogs barking, people around. Now I'm going to hit the noise cancellation button, and now it should be quiet. Now what I'm going to do is I've lapelled this up with Saramonic's lapel mic, and I'm going to put it in my back pocket. The reason being is I'm not really worried about line of sight, because we probably will get an easy 200-300 meters of line of sight, but we really don't care about line of sight for audio. So in my back pocket over here, I've got the lapel mic over here. Wind noise. Michelle says she can get some wind noise. There's a lot of wind at the moment. How's that now? Better? Okay, so I don't have a wind dead cat on here. I'm just trying to get this sound out of you. I'll put it like that. There we go. Okay, I'm going to walk back And Michelle's going to signal me when we start to lose signal. And I'm going to show you guys something, because line of sight, you will always get good range, good distance. Now usually from where Michelle is to about here, we should start losing a little bit of range with most mics, especially when they're not line of sight. So I'm going to keep going. Michelle's going to signal us when there is no, maybe some interference. Is there any interference yet? Nothing, all good. And then as soon as we lose the range, what we're going to do is we're going to throw, yeah, it's coming and going now. Okay, so I'm going to test something. So that's about here. I'll come back to the spot. I want to see if it disappears. Disappearing yet? Can you hear me? She can hear me. Still can hear me. It's coming and going. Tell me when it disappears. Just put your hand up if the audio disappears, and see how far we can get away. This is with no aerial. Okay, wait, this is quite crazy with no aerial. You can still hear me? Can you hear me? She can hear me. Wow. Can you hear me? Yep, she can hear me. This is absolutely mental. And she can still hear me. She's good. There's no line of sight. Wow. Still good. I mean, now, can you hear me? It's bad. Really bad. Okay, put the aerial in. Okay, now I want to show you something. I'm going to turn sideways. Now she can hear me perfectly because there's line of sight. So I'm going to have her put the aerial in. Is the aerial in? Okay, aerial. Can you hear me? Coming and going. I'm going to walk back still. Can you hear me? Bad, really bad. And sideways. Now you can hear me clearly because the mic is in my bottom pocket over here. So now we're going to do the same thing. Hollyland Lark Max. I just want to see a range test on this. Also back pocket, same microphone. Noise cancellation currently off. I'm going to switch noise cancellation on. There we go. Then we won't get any of that background noise. Same thing, same back pocket. And we're going to walk back, and Michelle's going to tell us when the signal disappears, and we kind of see if we can get the same distance. Like I said, I'm more worried about it being in your pocket, kind of disappearing, as opposed to line of sight. It's going already. Okay, so this is where I usually get most microphones. Most microphones kind of get to this point. There, it's back. Kind of back again. Good. Okay, most microphones usually get around to this point. Yeah, and going. Well, let's see how far we go till it completely disappears. But it's past this. Okay, so same test. Rode Wireless Go Gen 3. I've activated the auto noise cancellation, so I think you actually do it through the app. I haven't played as much with it as yet, but I'm going to put this in my back pocket. We're going to do the same range test now, just to see when that audio kind of conks out. Now, on all three of these devices, it does enable internal recording. So you can set to that when you hit record on the camera, you would essentially just start recording, or you can hit record on the device, and then you would always have a copy of your audio rather than having to rely on this wireless transmission. No, we're going to take photos now. Can you hear me? How's the audio? Fine, good, all good. Still good? Still good? Great. Okay, so we got a lot further than the Lark Max. Audio's coming and going? Okay. Dipped, is it back? Back now? Okay, so we got further than the Hollyland Lark Max. Yeah, it's coming and going. Okay, it's coming and going again. Well, let's keep walking and see if it conks out completely. Can you hear me? There we go, it's coming and going. And now you can hear me. So yes, for the range test, the Saramonic Ultra absolutely thumps everything I've tested, and it gives me the most consistency. I did another test in home, which I didn't film, but briefly explain it to you. Put the transmitter into my office with a video pane so I could hear someone constantly talking. I walked with the receiver and headphones all around the house and outside the house. With the Rode Wireless Gen 3 as well as the Hollyland Lark Max, once I got to my bedroom from the office, I started losing connection, and when I walked outside, I also started. As soon as I got to the main gate of the property, I also lost connection. However, with Saramonic, I could go into the bedroom comfortably, never lost signal once, and I walked right outside past the main gate, and once I crossed the street that's when I lost signal. So it definitely helps for that non-line of sight. It really, really is a bonus to have it. And I think if you're someone that struggles with that kind of lost kind of connection and you're just looking for a bit more consistency, this definitely has it. 32-bit float. Now I'm going to give you the whole rundown on 32-bit float, but I do have to explain one thing, and that is SPL, which is extremely important. That is your sound pressure level. Essentially, the decibels of where it can record to. Now the Saramonic Ultra has the highest at 130 decibels. The closest to that is the Rode Wireless Pro at 123.5, and then I think the DJI Mic 2 is only at 120 decibels. Now if you know sound, 120 decibels to 130 decibels is a huge amount. So the fact that this can handle that pressure up to 130 is really, really good. Now let's get to 32-bit float. The easiest way for me to explain this is essentially dynamic range of a photo. Imagine you took a photo and your highlights have been blown out, and you shot it in a JPEG and you put it in Lightroom and you try and pull the highlights down, but unfortunately they clipped and it's Snow White, there's no more detail left in the sky. That is essentially my voice shouting, getting way too loud for what the mic and the normal kind of 2.4 gigahertz transmission can usually handle, recording into that 24-bit audio. However, 32-bit is, imagine the raw photo. It looks like it's clipped right now, but when you pull those highlights down, there's still so much data above that roof, that ceiling, and that is essentially what 32-bit float is. Let me give you an example. Right now, my transmitter and this little mic is running straight into the receiver, into the camera, recording into the video. That is only a 24-bit file. Now, if I shout really, really loud, I'm going to clip the audio. That is what you heard straight out of the camera. Now I'm going to play the same back, but I'm going to use the 32-bit float internal recording over here just to lower that volume so that it doesn't clip. Listen to this. Now if I shout really, really loud, I'm going to clip the audio. Now that is where 32-bit float comes in extremely handy for creators. Perhaps you were doing an interview, someone shouted, someone laughed, and it clipped, and it just ruined everything. It's great to have that safety file in your internal recording, especially when it's 32-bit float. Or perhaps you just want to record, motocross bikes or cars really, really loud and in an event, and you're holding it over there to get some audio. Usually it would clip. Now you don't have to worry. You can just go record as much sound as you want and just fix it in post, essentially. That's where that 32-bit float helps. Let me show you how good the noise cancellation is. I know you saw the range test had some noise cancellation showing you kind of what's going on, but I want to show you something else. Check this out. This is going to be worst case scenario. Right now, I've got some bar sounds playing over here that are just running in the background. It's people talking in a bar. And you can hear the noise. It's very distracting. It's actually very loud. This is probably what you would get at an expo, and there's noise in the background. There's a lot of people talking, and it's just very annoying. It's very close. It's, probably a ruler or two away from the speaker. Now I'm going to switch noise cancellation on, and you're going to hear what that does. The light's gone green. Blue for no noise cancellation, green for noise cancellation on the transmitter. And now that is the sound that you get. Sound a lot better. Take another listen. I'll switch the noise cancellation off. So green light currently on. Let's tap the noise cancellation. It's gone to a blue light. How does that sound? Sound a lot worse, maybe a little bit more distracting. Now that is noise cancellation level 3. In the app you can choose level 1, 2 or 3 depending on how aggressive you want that noise cancellation. So that is essentially the strongest that it's going to be, giving you the worst kind of sound that some people relate to. So I think it sounds pretty good. I love the noise cancellation on it. For me it kind of creates that dead space, but it's not too dead, if that makes sense. The verdict. The Saramonic Ultra definitely kicks a lot of butt, and there's no denying that. The fact that they're coming so cheap with so many features and so much extra and good quality audio, I think it's a no-brainer for us creators to listen to what Saramonic does. I know for the likes of Hollyland, DJI, Rode, these guys have been kind of owning the 2.4 gigahertz space. Saramonic just comes in swinging and just gives us absolutely everything that us creators think we need. I think it's great for competition for other brands to kind of look at what Saramonic's doing and go, wait a minute, we can better that. The more brands that are fighting for the space of us creators and our livelihoods and our minds of what we want to create and just go out there and do crazy stuff, I'm glad that this competition exists because it helps us creators find better products. I do want to send a massive shout out to Saramonic for sending this through to me, letting me have a look at it, kind of putting it through its paces and seeing how good it really is. I'm usually very brutally honest and kind of give a raw opinion. And on that raw opinion, and this isn't a Saramonic thing, right? So this is not a Saramonic thing. This is my opinion from one creator to another creator watching this. I think when it comes to audio right now, we are in a space where audio is good. What I'm recording on here is good enough for creating content. If you're going to be looking at high-end professional audio, you're not going to be dropping $300-400 on a wireless system. You're going to be dropping a lot more, and that's fine. But I think for the space of us creators looking at this, I think brands are starting to reach peak audio quality at this point, especially based on the fact that software has come so far, and software allows us to create absolutely amazing noise cancellation and vocal boosts automatically, you know, through AI or whatever it may be. And I think this competition that's happening right now is good. It's giving brands the ideas to give us, you know, this charging case thing that never happened a few years ago has now become a standard. The waterproof side, putting lavalier mics in, creating dead cats that can easily clip on, making units smaller and smaller and smaller so that it doesn't hang on our t-shirts and pull our t-shirts down. I think the fact that this has happened is really, really good. I'm very excited for the next 2 to 3 months to see what brands are doing, because usually by the time this comes out, you know, everyone's kind of got word of it and everyone's working on a new best, better thing for us creators. And I love that. I love the competition. I think it's amazing, and it allows us to create YouTube videos on super cool products. Please just understand that I am not sitting in I'm sitting in my studio. The sound quality in here is quite terrible. So the fact that this sounds so good is really impressive. If I had to put my boards up over here and kind of soundproof it into a little box, I could probably give you a lot better idea. But I think for creators, we've been given environments like this lately in our creative business to create super fast content really good. And I think any mic can give you good quality audio in the right environment. And the fact that this gives me this in my studio with all these extra features, with the build quality, with the price point, everything on top of that, I think Saramonic's got a winner here. So that's it from me. If you have any questions, please leave them below wherever you are in the world. Have a good day, good evening, good night. Goodbye. I'm so tired. It ran down my sleeve this way.